Welcome back to the SimGeeks podcast. We are coming live from SimGhosts USA 21 here at Parkview Mirro Medical Center. We are joined today by Mr. Matt Stieber, who is the newest board member of SimGhosts, as well as being a member here, a teammate here at Parkview Mirro. And today we're going to talk about mobile simulation. We're actually inside of their ambulance simulator that they have built here and that they use for their in situ simulations. So we'll jump into that. But first thing, I do want to give Matt a few minutes to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us your background, how you got into simulation, and how you ended up here at Parkview.
Sure. Well, thanks. I've actually been a member of the Mirro Simulation Lab since its opening about 6 years ago. Previous to that, I worked for Parkview Health for 24 years in media services. I produced and directed training films, educational films, did some audiovisual systems design, and general upkeep and operations.
So you have a weird background like most of us do.
Correct. And then throw into the loop there, I was an EMT for about 5 years also. So when I discovered simulation, it almost seemed like a natural fit to me. You had the combination of healthcare background plus technical.
Absolutely. Yeah. AV seems to be a recurring theme amongst our people that come to join us. And so it's we've seen that quite a bit. It's either EMS, AV, or both EMS and AV that tends to bring people into simulation.
Yep, exactly.
Why don't you tell us about your ambulance that you built here, and not so much the ambulance itself, but also the program you have built around it. How did it come to be? What work did you guys put into it? What lessons did you learn in this process?
Sure. Yeah. So shortly after we opened in 2015. It started becoming pretty apparent to us pretty quickly within the first 6 months that we needed to develop some type of in situ program. Parkview Health is about 11 hospitals and physician practice throughout Northeast Indiana. Once word got kind of caught on about what we were doing at the simulation center, pretty much everybody within the system wanted to start working with us. So we found the need for a mobile type situation. Previously, we'd used staff members' cars. We'd throw the mannequin in a wheelchair, throw them in the backseat of a vehicle. I actually, in a previous vehicle, I had a 2000 Buick LeSabre. I had a mannequin on a backboard with the feet up in the passenger seat and the head right behind me in the driver's seat with a eviscerated bowel, and I got a lot of interesting looks driving down the interstate.
Nice.
But it became pretty apparent to us the need was there. Working with different EMS services, as you guys probably aware, a lot of crossover between services. A person might work for a couple, 2, 3 at a time. One of the guys we worked with, we had mentioned to him that we were eventually looking for a vehicle. He worked with the Wabash Fire Department, the city of Wabash in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And he said, we're getting a new ambulance. Let me talk to my chief, and we'll talk to the mayor and see if we can donate it to it. Everything worked out exactly like that. The Wabash Fire Department donated the truck to us. We, in turn, provide training to them. They are an absolutely phenomenal service. We have real difficulty ever trying to trip them up in any kind of a simulation. They're just a fantastic fire and EMS service.
Nice.
So they donated it to us, and from there, we just set to trying to figure out how we wanted to design it, how it would really be used. We do a lot of emergency medicine training, so we wanted to keep it as much like an ambulance as possible. So we stock it very much like an ambulance. We have linens, we have our trauma supplies, our airway supplies, etc. But then we also integrated, the electronics portion, the technical portion of simulation into it. We wanted to build it as much like a true simulation lab as we could. So that would include, we wanted a video debriefing system. So we basically built a VLAN within the truck. So put in a network switch. We got ran all the Ethernet cables. We have the cameras with the power over Ethernet, the PoE cameras in it. Installed microphones in the back. We're able to monitor that in the front. I put in a mount for a computer on the passenger seat in the front, so that serves as our control room.
Nice.
It worked out really, really well with us. And when we're not using it for actually working in the back here, it's in addition just transportation to other places that we're going to serve.
Yeah, we had a sim truck at my last place, and it was very much low cost. I mean, definitely lower than this, and we use the same thing for our control center. It was that front seat, and we just bolted a screen right on that front dashboard, checked if there was an airbag there first, and then ours was considerably older. Ours literally had brown shag carpet in it, so this is definitely a nice upgrade. It was the wood paneling, the brown shag carpet. It was really dated, but it worked, man. So, like, what were some of the struggles in the beginning when you were building one, and did you have any reference? Like, who did you seek out, or was it kind of a go alone sort of thing?
It was kind of a go alone situation. It was my coworkers at the time were Adam Fisher and John Lozo, and we just kind of all put our heads together and said, what exactly do we want to see in it? What do we want? What do we want to get out of it? Who are design it around our customers and what their needs are.
What are your learning objectives?
Exactly.
So I actually first got to see one of your trucks in Tampa last month, right? So you guys came down for SimOps. John actually drove the thing down from Indiana all the way to Tampa and then all the way back a few days later.
That's a hell of a drive.
And so, that was kind of where this plan came together when we were talking about, like, hey, we need to get Matt, we need to talk about something. Is like, what better to talk about than this project, right? We got a chance to play with it down there. We get to see it again here. Weird turn of events that we were in one spot with your team, and then 2 weeks later we're here again, right? But things work out that way for a reason. So what advice do you have for other agencies? In fact, my agency right now is considering doing a mobile ambulance or a few of them, not so much for training our people, but for doing outreach simulations. So we can go out and teach local EMS or fire departments and volunteers. What advice do you have for somebody starting from scratch with this to make sure that we don't make any maybe of the mistakes that you made, or that maybe you learned something that might save us some money in the long run?
That's a really great question. We actually drove the truck to SimGhosts in, it was 2017, I believe, to Raleigh, North Carolina. And we taught how we designed it. And I think one of the most important points that we got across and emphasized to people was just before you start looking for a truck or a vehicle, what are your needs? What are your customers' needs? Are your students? You might be just fine with a trailer that's hooked up to the back of a truck or an SUV if it's just simply transporting your equipment. We do a significant amount, probably about 70% of the training we provide is some level of emergency medicine, either pre-hospital through critical care. It naturally fell to us that we needed an ambulance. And again, availability, I often emphasize, depending upon the university you're with. If you're with a college, there are probably grounds vehicles, there's catering vehicles, there's employee shuttles and student shuttles that may be taken out of service. Get that word out there, put those feelers out there about, hey, we're looking for a vehicle. Doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be nice. We'll work on it, and be happy with what you get.
Yeah, absolutely. So the funny takeaway I have from all this is I've worked EMS my entire career, right? I'm still involved in emergency medicine. I don't know that I've ever been in an ambulance I could trust to drive to Raleigh from Fort Wayne or to Tampa. And here you are taking your basically retired units you've turned into sim units. So what's your maintenance program for keeping this thing running?
We have an absolutely exceptional mechanic that we work with. The company actually services all of Parkview's fleets. So Parkview provides EMS to 5 or 6 counties in Northeast Indiana. Rather large fleet. And the one company takes care of all of our vehicles. And I actually happen to be really good friends with the owner. So you got that trust factor.
Changing gears here. You are our newest board member for SimGhosts, right?
Yes,
It's an organization that all of us are involved in and we spend a lot of time with. We love this group. What does that mean to you? How did that come to be? What was kind of your plan there?
No plan at all. I attended my first Ghost conference in 2015. I kind of fell in love with the organization. I thought when I took this job that I had the weirdest job on the face of the earth. I tried to explain it to people, and they just kind of like look at you funny, and they don't understand what you do. I went to my first conference and realized, there are all these other people that are doing the same weird job that I do. So there is that real sense of community within SimGhosts, which means a lot to me. The more involved I got, as far as attending conferences. Maybe trying to write a blog piece, anything along those lines, eventually teaching at conferences. You just get more involved and ingrained within the community, and you realize the amount of support that's there within the organization.
Absolutely. The networking provided by this group is amazing.
It's absolutely phenomenal.
So when in my last shop, we had an EMS truck, and we did a lot with local hospitals, and you guys are obviously plugged into Parkview. We did a lot of work with our RQI department. finding what, things that needed to be trained better on, worked better on in the community, and we would actually go on site to the firehouses, and we would run EMS or Sims out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have any projects like that, or what things that you've started, and how did you get that kicked off?
We got it kicked off. A lot of the work we've done is just by word of mouth. We started out small, and people were kind of like, geez, have you seen Parkview's mobile unit? Mm-hmm. We've got a huge amount of popular response. We've been to every single fire station at least once in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is, I think we're talking about 20 houses. Nice. Covering A, B, and C shifts. We've done that a number of times. So, a lot of time, a lot of work. We a local county and community services throughout Northeast Indiana. We try and do that as much as possible as community benefit. Parkview giving back to the community.
Sure, that keeps you busy.
Very busy.
Very busy.
Well, Matt, you have any closing thoughts, either about your position with SimGhosts, about this project that you've been working on, anything that maybe we didn't think to ask that you want to share?
No, not specifically, other than, thank you. Thanks to both of you guys for your support of SimGhosts as well. And not even speaking just for the board, but I think for the SimGhosts community as a whole, it's this type of support that, it advances the group and makes us grow larger and stronger.
We're happy to do it.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate
Much
that.
appreciated.
And like I said, we love working with these guys. We've been doing this. Greg V's actually introduced me to SimGhosts a few years ago, and then of course David roped me in when we first started doing this together. And so, no regrets whatsoever, man. I love the conferences. I love the people.
Yeah,
and that's really what I met you.
That's how I met this guy.
Memphis, SimGhosts Memphis was the first place I saw you. I saw your truck and your unique video service. So you don't use the Viz, the recording system in this truck. You use something different.
We actually do. We installed the VLAN in here, put the permanent cameras in. Yep. We're working off a SimView server. Then we designed our mobile system that we wanted to use for a mobile debriefing system. Like it that much better that we actually incorporate that into the back now. And
nice.
When time allows, I'll put in camera mounts for being able to just snap those units in and out.
Yeah, because that's a really impressive program as well. And we'd like to definitely have you back to talk about that sometime.
Sure,
some of the other things that Parkview does. So this won't be your last time on here, I'm sure.
My pleasure.
But really nice, and again, more members of your team. You've got a really unique and special team up here that we appreciate working with.
No, thank you. I'd have to agree with you. They're a phenomenal group of folks.
And I'll second that. We've spent the last week here. They've been nothing but supportive. You have people, I swear, that are experts in everything. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's so awesome talking to these guys and going from one person to the next, and just the things that they know, the knowledge they have, the facility that you guys have built here is absolutely gorgeous. I think that... I look forward to when we're coming back here in the future for something else.
Say the word and we'll have you over.
And one of the really cool things is not only do you do a lot here, you make pretty much everything you can open door, and you're willing to help the community. So that's something I hear from every one of your team members, whether it's the innovation team, whether it's from the sim team, whether it's for any part of your thing. So, the listeners, I definitely say they should look you guys up and start networking and working on projects, because you're doing some amazing work here.
Will and I were talking about it earlier today. That's one of my favorite things about the whole simulation community is that not only a want, it's almost a need to share and to help others out. Yep. And, share, hey, this worked out well for us. Yep. Or, hey, we're having a problem here. Can anybody else help us out? The amount of altruism and giving, within the community is just fantastic.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that's going to wrap this one up. Thank you for your time. We hope you have a good night, and we have a handful of other episodes that are going to be coming your direction here pretty quickly, so please stay tuned. Thank you.
Thanks.